Have you ever wondered why companies like Netflix prompt you to share if you're enjoying their service before asking for a review? What's the reasoning behind this? They're filtering feedback to ensure only top-rated reviews make it to the App Store, visible for everyone to see. And here's the beautiful part. You can easily create this same system inside of your business and your clients' businesses using a tool called HighLevel. And your clients will be happy to pay you hundreds of dollars every single month to use it, because this approach not only improves their customer feedback, but it also boosts their Google rankings, which puts more money in their pocket. So if you're interested in learning how to create this system that automatically sends review requests to customers, actively filters out negative reviews, ensures your clients only receive 4 and 5-star Google reviews, and allows you to track exactly how well the system is performing in real time so that you can show your clients the data, then keep watching, because in this video, I'm going to show you how to build this exact system from scratch. Hey, what's up, friends? Welcome back to the channel. My name's Bryce Newman, and if you're new here, I teach people how to create a successful online business that generates monthly recurring revenue using the most powerful software on the planet, HighLevel. So let's get right into it. All right, so now that we're inside of HighLevel, the first thing that we want to do before we actually go about setting up this automation inside of the automation tab is we're going to make sure that our account is set up with all the integrations that we need, so that when we set up this automation, it actually works with our Google account and everything is talking to each other. So the first thing that you need to do is integrate your Google profile and your Google business profile. So if you haven't done that already, you're going to go into your settings and you want to make sure that you're in your sub account. So then go into your settings and come down here into integrations. And if you've already done this, then you'll probably see your Google accounts linked here, and you'll probably see your Google business profile. There will be a new box that pops up. But if you haven't done this, then this is what it's going to look like. So you want to click sign in with Google, and then it's going to bring you to this sign in page. So you're going to sign into your Google account. And then as soon as you do that, then it's going to sign you into your Google account, and it'll look something like this. So you can see that I'm signed into my personal Gmail account. I've got my business Gmail account tied to this as well, and I've got my Google business profile tied to this as well. So if you haven't set all these things up, that's a little bit outside of the scope of this video. I do teach you how to do all of that in the courses that I offer for free to all of my affiliates. But once you've gotten your business email address and set up your Google business profile, then you just come in here and integrate them directly into HighLevel, so that when we set up the reputation management and ask for review requests, then it links to our actual Google business profile. So that's the first step. And then after that, we need to set up our reputation management. So we're going to come back over here into the tabs and we're going to click reputation management. So now you can see that we've got our reviews AI, we've got our review links right here, and you can do this for both Google and Facebook. So you can also link your Facebook business profile and set up the same system that we're setting up for Google for Facebook. And then once you've created these requests, we're actually going to come up here and we're going to do get reviews on Google, and it's going to give us this link. So we're going to copy this link right here, and I'm going to show you why this is important. We're going to go about creating a custom value with this link in it, and then we're going to tie that to a trigger link, and that's going to allow us to track exactly how well a review request campaign is performing, so that you're not reliant on the reputation dashboard to see how many reviews you've actually gotten. You can see who's clicking into the links and so much more. It just makes tracking significantly easier. So copy this link, and then we're going to come over here and go into custom values. And once you're inside of custom values, then click new custom value, and we're going to call this Google review link, and then enter the value. So you're going to paste the value that we just copied. So this is the link that's sending them to your Google review. And then for folder, if you've got folders created and you want to select one, you can, but I don't have any folders created. So I'm just going to create, and the custom value was successfully added. So I'm going to search Google review link, and you can see it right here. And I'm just going to copy this custom value key right here. So the value for the actual custom value is right here, but this key is what I want. And the reason that you copy this key is because if you ever come back in here and change this value later, then you only have to change it right here inside the custom values. You don't actually have to change it in the trigger link section, which we're about to do right now. So make sure to copy this key, and then we're going to go back and we're going to go into marketing, and then we're going to click trigger links, and we're going to add a link and enter the name, and we're going to just call it the same thing, Google review link, and then link URL and paste. So now we're pasting that custom values link into here. And you can see that I do this with all of my different custom values. I don't have it here just because I was doing that one quickly. I would go back and delete that and change it to an actual custom value. And then I paste it here so that when I change things in my custom values, I don't have to remember to change them here in my trigger links as well. And these trigger links are going to allow us to track how well this system is performing and give that data to our clients. So the traditional way of setting up a review campaign and requesting the review with the feature inside of the automation tab that I'll show you later is just not quite as accurate and doesn't allow us to track how well it's doing and provide that data to our customers. So that's why I'm setting it up this way. And this will make a lot more sense here in a second, but that's why I created that custom value and this trigger link, is that it just gives us more data that we can share with our customers. And it allows us to further optimize our automations so that we can get the most amount of reviews that we're looking for. And this process also makes it easier for our customers to then replicate this exact same process for their customers. So the very last thing that we're going to do before we actually create this system is we're going to create a pipeline that allows us to track and see exactly where people are in the system. So we want to come over here into the opportunities tab, and then we're going to click pipelines, and we're going to create a new pipeline. And I'm just going to call this the review pipeline and stage name. Okay, so I went ahead and created all the different stages and named them. So the name of the pipeline is review pipeline. And then I've got review requested, negative response, positive response, trigger link clicked, and review received. And the way to actually add these is you just click add stage, and then you can name them. You can move them up and down and change where they're located in the pipeline. But that's how you create this pipeline. And if this doesn't make a whole lot of sense just yet, you'll see why I created this pipeline, exactly how I created it. If you've never seen a pipeline before, then we're going to click save, and I'm going to show you what this actually looks like. So we're going to go back into our opportunities tab, and right here where it says affiliate pipeline, I'm going to change that to review pipeline. And you can see that we've got review requested, negative response, positive response, trigger link clicked, and review received. So this is the process that I want people to go through when I send them a review request. I want to know that the review request was sent, and then I want to know if they responded or if they clicked that trigger link that we just set up, and then if they actually left us a review for our business. So that's why I have this set up the way that I do. And you can see in one of my other pipelines that this is how these opportunities actually show up when they're in the pipeline. So that's what we're creating here. And that's why I have this set up the way that I do. So now it's actually time to go about creating the workflow for getting these reviews for your business or your clients' businesses. And one of the main reasons that so many businesses have so few reviews online is simply because they just don't ask for reviews. If a business actually goes about asking for a review, the customer is significantly more likely to leave one. And just to prove this point, I actually had some blinds installed in my house about 2 years ago, and the installer actually did a really good job. I was super happy with the blinds, but I never took the time to go figure out whose business that was and leave them a review online. I was happy with their work, but they just didn't ask for a review, so I didn't leave them one. And then about 2 years after the blinds were actually installed, and this was just a few weeks ago now, I received a random text message from this company that said, "Hey, would you mind leaving us a review? We installed your blinds a while ago." And it took me 10 seconds to leave a review. I left them a 5-star review. I said that the company does great work. I was super happy with it, but I didn't take the time to do that until they asked. And that's how so many consumers are. They're not going to go out of their way to leave your business a review, but as the business owner, if you just ask the consumer for a review, it's actually so easy to start to get these Google reviews and get a lot of them very quickly, which boosts your ranking on Google, gets you seen by more people, and then just has a snowball effect because people naturally, when they go view a business, go and check out how many reviews it has. They look to see if people have had good experiences. That's just the way today's digital age works. So if you're a business owner who wants more reviews, this system that we're about to create is incredibly effective. And if you're a SaaS agency owner and you want to help businesses get reviews, then this is such an easy sale to business owners because it is so efficient. So with all of that being said, let's actually head into the automation tab and start building this system. So once we're inside of the automation tab, we're going to head up here and we're going to create a new workflow. And the traditional recipe for doing this, I'll just show you what it looks like really quickly. So if we scroll down here and we click on this send review request recipe, I'm just going to select that and show you what the traditional way of doing this is. And this isn't a horrible setup. So the way that it's set up right now is you can trigger this workflow by either having a tag added. So if you choose a tag and whenever a customer gets that tag, then it's going to send them a text message with a review request, wait 60 minutes and send them an email with a review request. Or once an appointment is marked as showed up to, so once someone shows up to the appointment, then it's going to send them a review request. Or once an opportunity is marked as one, then it's going to show up. So those are all good triggers for things that would actually happen in business that would be a good time to send a review request. But the problem with doing it this way is there's no real follow-up. So it's just a review request via SMS that's sent and a review request via email that's sent, but there's no different paths that people can go down. There's no extra follow-up. It's just one review request, wait 60 minutes, send another one. And if they don't respond to that, then they're never talked to again. So this isn't the best system for sending review requests, and we're going to create a much better system here. So you can start this workflow from scratch. I'm just going to go ahead and delete all of these and make sure that we're starting from scratch. So delete, delete, delete. And I'm going to click here and delete this as well. But the other problem that I was talking about earlier is that when you just use this send review request feature, so I'll show you what this is. So delete all actions from here. So we're going to delete this. And we're now starting from a completely blank workflow. So you could have just said start from blank, but I wanted to show you what the traditional way of doing it is. But if you click this plus button, then type in review request, you can see this send review request option right here. And then you can select via email, via SMS. So if we just do SMS, then it's going to send the review request that you have set up in your reputation management tab through SMS. And when we click save action, then it puts that there. The problem is you get all of the data of how many review requests you've actually seen and some more features inside of your reputation tab, but you can't actually alter the path of this workflow because you don't know when people are clicking on the review request. So if people are clicking on it, but then maybe not leaving a review, you can't do anything about it. So we're going to create a much better system right now. So we're going to delete this send review request workflow action. And we're going to start by looking at this workflow trigger. And if you're completely unfamiliar with workflows and how the automation tab inside of HighLevel works, I do have a 3-part video series that goes through this entire portion of the software. It's an incredibly technical aspect of the software, which is why I made 3 videos that will teach you how to master it. So if you are completely lost right now, don't worry. You can always go watch those videos and it will clear everything up that I'm talking about. But for the purposes of this, I'm going to assume that you know what workflows are and have a basic understanding of them. So we're going to add new workflow trigger, and we're just going to start out this workflow by doing contact tag as the workflow trigger. And we're going to add filters and tag added. And then we're going to create a new tag called send review request. So I'm just going to add new tag and keep track of this contact tag, send review request. So I'm going to save that. And now anytime we add a tag that is the send review request, then it's going to trigger this workflow so that everything we set up down here is going to take place. So the first thing that we want to have happen is we're going to create or update opportunity. So we're going to create or update in pipeline, and we're going to choose that review pipeline in pipeline stage. And the first stage of this pipeline is review requested. So we're going to do review requested. And I'm going to choose this opportunity name to be contact name and contact company name. So these could be chosen from here. If you don't have that pre-selection, then you just come in here, you go to contact, and then you do full name, and it's going to give you that contact name, and we're going to delete that. And then if you wanted to do it for the contact company name, then contact, and then you just come down here and select company name, and it gives you that. So that's how you choose those. But I do it this way so that it creates a new opportunity for every single person. And for example, if I filled out this form where it was already in the CRM, it would be called Bryce Newman and then Pasco Systems. So this just lets me look at opportunities and visually see what's going on within the opportunities tab. And then opportunity source, I'm going to leave it blank, and lead value, I'm going to leave it blank as well. There's no real value assigned to these. If you're setting it up in conjunction with other things, there could be some value, but I'm going to leave those blank. And then status, I'm going to do open, and I'm going to leave all the settings exactly how they are. And I'm going to save that action. So all we've done so far is we've created an opportunity that's going to show up in the opportunities tab so that we have a visual representation of who we've sent these review requests to and where they're at in our pipeline. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to actually send the review request. So I'm going to send SMS, and then inside of the message portion of this, I'm going to say something like, hey, thanks for using our services. We're collecting customer feedback. If you could rate us on a scale from 1 to 5, what would you give us? And then let them know that 1 equals poor and 5 equals fantastic. And so we're not sending the actual review request just yet. We're getting a gauge on how well they enjoy our services before sending the review request. This is what allows us to get only 4 and 5-star Google reviews. And some people call this review gating, but I've checked and it's not breaking any rules. So say something like this, save that action, and I'm actually going to action name, SMS, please provide. So feedback 1 to 5. This just lets me take a look at this and know what I'm asking for in that message. So then the next step is going to be a wait function, and we're going to set this up so that it's going to be wait for the contact reply, and we're also going to give it a timeout of 24 hours. So to set that up, we're going to do wait for and contact reply, and then reply to, and we're going to select that message that's right here, and then we're also going to put a timeout on here so that if they don't actually reply, it still moves forward after the amount of time that we have it set to. So I'm going to put 24 and then change minutes to hours and click save. And so the next step is we're going to add an if else statement. So if else, and this is going to allow us to choose exactly what path this workflow continues down based on the factors that we set up. So in this text message that we're sending, we're asking for the customer to give us feedback and rate us on a scale of 1 to 5. So we can reasonably assume that they're going to reply with a message that contains either a 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. And so we're going to set this up so that the condition is customer replied. And the first branch that we're going to set up is negative response. And then we're going to set the parameters in here. So a negative response would be a 1, a 2, or a 3. So we're going to select and we're going to choose contact reply, and replied message contains, and then 1. And then you want to be careful here, because if you add a condition to this, then it's going to fall within this same conditional box. And if you do the replied message, so contact reply, replied message, and the reason we're choosing contains is because if they put more wording around this, such as, hey, I'd give you a 1, and we chose is, and it has more wording, then it would just see that it's not the exact message. So it would say that this failed, but that's why we're choosing contains, because it's just looking to see, does anywhere in the message contain a 1, a 2, or a 3? So that's why we're using the contains here. And the next function would be to, but you can see how these are both in here, and we would change this to or. These are both in the same box right here. And so what's happening is it's actually looking for this response first, and it's saying, was there a 1 or a 2? And if it sees that there wasn't a 1 in here, then it's going to consider this entire box as failed, and it's going to move to the next check of this conditional logic. So instead of doing it this way, where if they had put a 2, it would just see that they didn't put a 1, and it would think that this whole thing failed. So instead of doing it like that, we're going to click X here, and we're going to add a segment. So this now separates these so that this first box it's checking for if the message contains a 1. And if that fails, then we're going to check this next one, and it's going to say contact reply, replied message contains, and then we're going to put a 2. So now it's looking for, did their replied message contain a 1? If it wasn't a 1, then it's going to move to this next one, and it's going to check for, did it contain a 2? And then we're going to set up one more. We're going to leave it as or, and we're going to do contact reply, replied message contains, and then we're going to have 3. So now it's checking for 1, 2, or 3. And if it doesn't see a 1, a 2, or a 3 anywhere in the message, then we're going to set up a new branch. And so that's going to be the negative response. We don't want the 1s, the 2s, or the 3s. And then we're going to do this new branch. We're going to call it positive response. And now we're looking for 4s or 5s. So we're going to do the same thing, contact reply, replied message contains, and 4, and then we're going to add a segment, and we're going to change this to or, and then we're going to do contact reply, replied message contains, and 5. So the way that this works is it actually works in sequence here. So it's going to check for the negative response first. So it's going to check, does this message contain a 1? No. Does it contain a 2? No. Does it contain a 3? No. And let's just assume that they left us a 5. So then it's going to move to the positive response. It's going to go, does it contain a 4? No. Does it contain a 5? Yes. And it's going to go down that branch, which I'll show you here in a second. But if they replied something else, because there is this human element to it and people aren't always following directions exactly, they could have been like, hey, yeah, I really love your business and you guys are doing great. Keep up the good work. Then that doesn't have a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, or a 5 anywhere in it. So we need to add one more branch, and we're going to add this branch, and we're going to call this branch contact replied other. And what we're going to select here is we're going to check to see, did the contact reply? So we're just going to do contact reply, contact replied, and we're going to say true. So this isn't checking for what they replied with. This isn't checking if it's a number. This is just checking, did they actually reply? And so now we've got all the branches that we want. We've got the none branch, which is they didn't reply at all. And we're going to save this action. And it's, again, very important that we have it in this order, because if we go in here and if we had this contact replied, so we can reorder the branches here. If we had this contact replied at the top, technically the contact is replying in each one of these messages. So whether they put a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, or a 5, or something else, they're always replying. So if we have this contact replied at the top, then it's always going to go down that branch. So we don't want it up there. We need to make sure that the contact replied is the very last one, so that it checks for the negative reply, it checks for the positive reply, and if it's neither of those, then it goes down this branch. But it doesn't go down this branch prematurely. So we're going to save that action, and now we've got all 4 of these branches. So we've got the negative response, positive response, contact replied, and then if they didn't reply within 24 hours, then it's going to continue down this, and it's going to go down this branch. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to set up what we want to take place for each of these different branches. So for the negative response, we're going to first create or update the opportunity. So we're going to select the pipeline, and we're going to leave it in the review pipeline, select the stage, and this is going to be negative response. So you can see how this pipeline is starting to correlate with this workflow. So this is letting us know that if they respond with a negative response, which is a 1, a 2, or a 3, then it's going to automatically move that opportunity from the review requested stage in our pipeline to the negative response stage. And then we can just leave the opportunity name blank, opportunity source blank, lead value blank, and status blank, because it's going to automatically carry that information over from the original opportunity that we created. So we're going to save the action, and then we're going to create a step that is another SMS that we're sending. And this is going to say something along the lines of, sorry you had a bad experience. Can you please provide some feedback on how we can improve? So you remember at the beginning of this video when I said Netflix sets it up this way, and so many other tech companies and services set up their review request automations so that you ask for the intent of the person and figure out how their experience is before actually getting the feedback. This makes it so that when we save this, it now sends a text message to the customer and asks them for that feedback. When they tell us that we've had a bad experience, it allows us to collect that feedback so that we can continue to improve our processes, but we're not going to send these customers an actual review request because they would leave us a 1, a 2, or a 3, which is going to lower our overall score on Google. So doing it this way allows us to continue to get customer feedback, continue to improve, but we're not dropping our overall score on Google. So I'm just going to go in here, and again, I like to stay organized, so I'm going to say, please provide feedback. So this is just saying, give us feedback. Doesn't change anything, but lets me see what's happening at a glance. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go down this positive response. So if we receive a 4 or a 5 from this initial text message, then we're going to go down this branch. And again, we're going to first create or update opportunity, and it's going to be in pipeline, review pipeline, select pipeline stage, positive response, and then leave everything blank. Save action, and we're going to send another text message, but this is going to be a different text message. So for this one, we're going to say, I'm glad to hear you're enjoying our services. Would you mind leaving us a review on Google? It takes 15 seconds and really helps us out. You can use this link to leave a review. And then we're going to click this lightning bolt right here, and you can see that it says trigger links, and we're going to choose the Google review link that we have set up. So that's how you actually put the trigger link inside of the text message that you're sending, and then you can see if people are clicking this link or not. And you can see exactly how many people are clicking the link. And then you can alter this automation on whether or not people are clicking the link. And we're going to do that here in a second. It just gives us so much more control over this system, gives us all the data that we want to see, and actually allows us to get more reviews for our customers. So that's why we set up the trigger link, and just put that in here and save that action. And as always, I'm going to come back in. Please leave us a review on Google, and save. So now what we want to do is we want to set up a wait function. So wait, and this time we're going to do, instead of a time delay, we're going to do wait for trigger link clicked, and select the trigger link. So we're going to come down here and do Google review link, and timeout. I'm going to put a timeout of 1 hour on here. So 1 and hour, and then save this action after I name it. So quickly TLC trigger link clicked, or 1 hour. So save action. And now we're going to set up another if else statement. And this time we're going to set it up to check and see if that trigger link was clicked. So for here, was the trigger link clicked branch, we're going to just set up a yes branch. So select. And for this one, we're going to do events and trigger link clicked, and then select the trigger link is, and we're going to do that Google review link, and we're going to click save. So now we're just checking to see, was the trigger link inside of this message that we sent to our customer clicked? If it was, we're going to go down the yes branch. If it wasn't, we're going to go down the no branch after 1 hour of waiting. And continuing down, assuming that they did click the trigger link, we're going to continue down this yes branch, and we're going to set it up. And the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to put a wait function, and I'm going to do 20 minutes, and then time delay. So we're going to leave it as time delay, and I'm going to do 20 minutes. So save action. So the only reason that I'm putting this is because if they click the trigger link, it's going to immediately progress down this workflow, and it's going to go down the yes branch. So I'm leaving some time for them to actually leave the review, and 20 minutes seems like a reasonable enough amount of time. And then I'm going to check in with them, and I'm going to send them another text message, and I'm going to say, hey, and this time I'm actually going to put their name in there. So custom values, contact, first name, just checking in. Were you able to leave us a review on Google? And so I'm going to say, hey, contact first name. So, hey, Bryce, just checking in. Were you able to leave us a review on Google? I'm going to save that action. So SMS, were you able to leave us a review? Save action. And then I'm going to check and see, did the contact reply? So I'm going to add another wait function and wait for contact reply. Reply to, and it's going to be that, were you able to leave us a review? And timeout, I'm going to make this as 24 hours again. So 24 and hours. So save action and name it, contact reply, 24 hours. So I'm waiting 20 minutes for them to actually leave the review, and then sending them another message to see, did they actually leave us a review? And I'm waiting for them to reply, or waiting 24 hours and giving that a 24-hour timeout. So if I don't hear anything within 24 hours, then we're going to set that up now. So I'm going to add another if-else statement. And you can see how important these if-else statements are. This conditional logic allows us to set it up exactly how we want and control everything that's going on. And based on the replies, have this working flawlessly so that if they're replying, if they're giving us positive intent, if they're giving us a good review, everything's happening in the background. And unlike that original recipe that I showed you where it just sends the review request and then nothing happens, this gives us complete control over our businesses and allows us to set it up once and then have it continue to run in the background whether we're working or not. So this if-else statement, we are checking for, did the contact reply? And this first branch we're going to do is yes, and we're going to say that it was a positive reply. So to set up this branch, we're going to do contact reply, intent type, and then is positive or yes. So this just makes it so that you don't have to try and figure out exactly what the customer is saying. So the traditional way of setting this up is you would do something like contact reply, contact replied message, and then is, or probably contains. Then you would do something like yes, then you would create another one that's yeah, and then another one that's yeah for sure. And it gets confusing. So this new intent type feature makes it so much easier because there's actually AI running that checks to see, was it just positive intent or negative intent, which we'll set up next. So this first branch, yes, positive. Then we're going to add another branch and we're going to call it yes, negative. So this is, they still replied, but they told us something along the lines of no. So if they said something like, no, I haven't had the time to do that just yet, but I plan on doing it later, then it would go down this yes, but negative branch because they did reply, but they're telling us they'll do it later. So we're going to select contact reply, intent type is, and negative. So then save that action. And now we've got these contact replied branches. So yes, positive, yes, negative, or no, they didn't reply within 24 hours. And if they replied and it was positive, then we're going to create or update the opportunity. And this is where we want to get to. Essentially, this let us know that they clicked the trigger link, they left a review, and then they texted us back and they said that they left a review. So what we're going to do here is we're going to do in pipeline, review pipeline, stage is review received. And then we can leave everything else the same except for this status. We're going to mark it as closed and won. So we did exactly what we wanted to with this pipeline and these opportunities and this automation that we're building. So we're going to mark this status as won. We're going to save that action. And then we would just send them a final text message that says, thanks, you rock, and thanks. And we're going to save that. Now, if we got a reply from them, but it was negative and they said, no, they haven't left us a review yet, then we're going to just set up a wait function. And the only reason we're doing this is so that it doesn't seem quite as robotic. So we're just going to put a 1 minute delay on there. So wait 1 minute, and then it's going to continue down this path. So we're going to set up a go to function and save that. And then we're going to select where we want it to go after they've replied to us, said they haven't left us a review, and it waits 1 minute. Then we're going to scroll up here and we're going to have this go to this message right here. So we're just going to send them another text message that says, please leave us a review on Google. And you could change up this message. You could really copy and paste or copy all actions from here and paste it below there. But we want this to loop endlessly until they leave us a review. So we're just going to send them this same message that says, I'm glad to hear you're enjoying our services. Would you mind leaving us a review on Google? It takes 15 seconds, helps us out, and has that trigger link. And we're just going to send them back through this branch until they leave us a review and say that they've left us a review. So that completes that one. And now we're going to go down here. And if they got through this entire process, but they never replied when we said, hey, were you able to leave us a review? Then we need to set up this none branch. And to do this, we're just going to copy and paste everything from here. So copy and copy all actions from here. And you want to make sure to do this after you just put the go to function on this yes negative branch. And I'll show you why here in a second. So when we copy and paste, then we're going to copy here. And now because we've already set it up here, then it's going to copy and paste everything here, but it's going to send it to that exact place. So you could do it again and just have, when it goes down this branch, have it go up to that same spot. But when you set it up up afterwards, then it automatically creates that. So what we're doing is if they don't reply to that message to see if they actually left us a review, then after 24 hours, it's going to go down this none branch and we're just going to send them that same message. And you could change it up here. So you could say, hey, just checking in, don't want to bother you, but wanted to see if you were able to leave us a review on Google. So now it's not the exact same message, but it gets the point across. And it's just saying, hey, we don't want to bother you, but we're looking to see, did you leave us a review? And then all the other things after that are the exact same as we've already set up. So that's all good to go. And it's going to work how we want it to. And that's the other benefit of putting this go to function instead of just continuing to build out and copy and paste, is it just endlessly loops for this branch, and we've got the closed loop for this branch as well now. And the last thing to close off this final loop is we're going to add one more go to function right here and save. And then we're going to go to, and we're going to check, were you able to leave us a review? And we're just going to have it go right back here. And now everything is a closed loop from this point on. So now what we need to do is we need to go all the way up here. And I actually noticed that right here was the trigger link clicked. If it goes down this branch, we actually need to put a create or update opportunity, and in pipeline, review pipeline, pipeline stage, trigger link clicked, leave everything the same. So save action. So now we're good to go there. And it just moves it to that next stage in the pipeline and lets us know that they clicked the trigger link and we're waiting for a response. So now we're going to continue up here and we need to go down this contact replied other branch. So we've got the negative response branch set up. We've got the positive response branch set up. Now we need to set up this branch for if they replied, but it wasn't a 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. So what we're going to do here is we're going to just check for the intent type of this reply. And again, you can't do this in here, because if you check for the intent type within this negative response, so if you put this as negative response and then one of the segments, you put check for intent types, a contact intent type, and is negative, then it's going to check. And if they put a 1, a 2, a 3, or just have an overall negative sentiment, then it's going to go down this negative branch without checking to see if they're like, no, we love your services, but we would absolutely give you a 5, something weird like that, where the automation might get confused by the initial no, but there's actually a 5 in there. Then it would not have the chance to go down and check to see if there's a 5. So we're going to leave this off of here and we're going to save that. And that's why we're putting this here in the contact replied. So once it's had a chance to check if it was a 1, 2, 3, a 4, or 5, then we're going to go down this branch if they actually did reply, and we're immediately going to put another if else statement, and we're just going to check for the intent type here. So we're going to do positive reply and select, and then contact reply, intent type, and is positive. And then we're going to add a new branch and we're going to call this negative reply, and then select contact reply, intent type, and is negative. So now we're checking, did they reply? Was it positive? Was it negative? Or did they not reply? And if it was an overall positive reply, then we're just going to add a go to function. So we're going to go to, and we're just going to go down this positive response. So creator update opportunity, positive response. So it wasn't a 4 or a 5, but they said something along the lines of, yeah, we love your services and would give you a great review. Then it's going to go down here and we're going to do the same thing with this negative reply. We're just going to set up a go to function and save. And then we're going to go down this negative review. And so now we've got those as closed loops. And the last things that we would have here are these none branches. So if we send them this initial text message and say, hey, give us feedback 1 through 5, and it waits 24 hours and nothing happens, or they replied and somehow it decides it wasn't positive or negative, then we have these two open loops, and you can decide exactly what you want to do here. So what I would probably do is I would just put a go to function and go to, and I would just restart from the beginning and create the opportunity, send the initial text message that says, hey, give us a 1 through 5, and hope that they reply. This time it will have waited 24 hours and it'll just keep sending them a text message until they reply. And you can do the same thing here with this none branch. So if they did reply, but it was super ambiguous, then you can do a go to function and you can just restart this again. And hopefully they now respond with something that's a 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. So now everything is completely set up. The last thing we want to do is we want to go into our settings and make sure that those are set up exactly how we want. So you need need to make sure that this stop on response is turned off. You do not want that on because otherwise the first text message that they respond to, it's going to stop the workflow and take them out of this workflow. So make sure that this is off. And if you want to send this to the same contact and then maybe at a future point send it to them again, then you can turn on allow reentry. This one, you'll really have to look at what's your workflow trigger, how are you bringing people into this workflow, and see if you want this on or off. But definitely turn this stop on response off. And then you want to publish this workflow and click save. And I'm just going to change this. So Google review request 4 and 5 stars only. So there you go. The workflow is set up. That's everything you need. Now, the last steps that we're going to look at are how do you actually go about adding contacts to this workflow? And it's automatically going to be triggered by a contact tag added. So you can have a different workflow that adds this contact tag and starts this workflow, or you can manually add them and you can add contacts individually, or you can do a bulk add. So if we go into our contacts tab, then I'm just going to do a quick search for my contact and I'm going to select this contact, and you really could select all and then add all of these. You could do add to automation and then proceed and then add them all in drip mode. I would not recommend adding a ton of contacts to this workflow all at once because it'll get you marked as spam and just ruin your Twilio reputation and may prevent you from being able to send text messages. So make sure to add in drip mode if you're adding a lot of contacts at once. And then you just select the workflow, and I'm going to do review. So Google review request 4 and 5 star only, drip mode. And then you can name the action, choose when you want it to start, figure out how many people you want in each quantity. So let's just say you're adding 1,000 people. You can add people 50 at a time and then choose when it repeats, when it starts, when it ends. And then you just click add to automation. But I'm not going to do that because I don't want to add all these people. So I'm just going to add this. And I'm going to show you exactly what happens and how this shows up in the opportunities tab when I actually add someone. But that's how you go about adding people in drip mode. But I'm just going to add one person into this workflow. So I'm going to add all at once because I'm just doing one, and add to Google review action, Google review request, and add to automation. So now when we go into the automation tab and we look at this automation review, we can see Google review request, one person's enrolled, one person's still actively enrolled. And then if we look at the settings of this, or actually just the workflow itself, we can see we're waiting for a contact reply here. So you can see where people are at in this workflow. And if I just look at my phone here, I got a text message. So I've got, hey, thanks for using our services. We're collecting customer feedback. If you could rate us on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being poor, 5 equals fantastic. So I'm just going to put 5. So I replied to that. Now, if we go back, then click back into the workflow and look at it, it's going to now have moved through here, and we can just look at the execution logs as well. And we can see it was added to workflow, opportunity created, text message sent, wait for reply, wait step completed, went down the creator update opportunity and leave a positive review on Google. It sent us a text message, and now it's waiting for the trigger link click. So if we go back and we go into our opportunities, it should be positive response. And you can see that I don't have my company name on here. If someone had their company name, then it would autofill there, but because I don't, it's just blank. But if we click into here, we can see the contact's name. I don't have my email for this information, but it's status open, positive response stage, and everything is working flawlessly, and it's automatically moving through the pipeline exactly how we have it set up. And if I just go here really quickly, and I'm going to check to see, I got a new text message. So glad you're enjoying our services. Would you mind leaving us a review? I'm going to click that trigger link. And so I just clicked it on my phone, and I'm going to go to the review. And now when we go back into the opportunities tab, you can see it's now moved to trigger link clicked. And so it's automatically happening in real time when they click the trigger link on their phone. So now I'm going to get a text message in about 20 minutes that says, hey, were you able to leave a review? And depending on how I respond to that, then it would go to review received, or it would put me back to a previous stage within this pipeline. So everything is working flawlessly with this review request system. So I know that there were a lot of steps in actually creating that system. So if you want this system, and you may have followed along and built it as we were building it out, but if you want this system automatically downloaded into your account without you having to go through and create everything, then I will actually give it to you for free so that you don't have to go through all of the work of creating it. You'll still have to go through and make some slight adjustments and change the messages to fit your voice, but the framework of the system is completely built out. So if you want this system so that you can start sending review requests for your clients and selling this reputation management tool, then all I'm asking is for you to do 3 simple things. Subscribe to my YouTube channel here, leave a comment below this video that just says subscribed, and then send me a direct message on Instagram. My Instagram is at PassGoSystems. I'll put it up on the screen here. Send me a direct message and just say workflow, and I will send you a snapshot with this entire workflow that we just set up along with the pipeline so that everything's already working together. And all you'll have to do is click that link and it will automatically download into your account so that everything's ready to go. So again, subscribe to this YouTube channel, leave a comment that says subscribed, and then send me a direct message that just says workflow to my Instagram, and I'll send that to you for free. If you enjoyed this video about how to get your clients 4 and 5-star Google reviews, and you want to learn how to build websites for these same clients, then check out this video right here. I teach you how to build a professional looking, fully functioning website in a matter of minutes, and then I go over some of the tools inside of HighLevel that you can use to drive more traffic to that website and drastically increase the sales coming in from that traffic. This means that you can charge your clients more for your monthly services, and they'll be happy to pay because they're making more money in their business from your services. So I'll see you in there.